Miami legend Luther Campbell is rapping from the rooftops now that he regained rights to the music he created as part of the rap group 2 Live Crew.
Campbell, better known as Uncle Luke, lost ownership of the music catalog in a bankruptcy decades ago and won it back in court yesterday.
What's going on? I am Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything from trademarks, patents, trade secrets, as well as copyrights. Now, this is an interesting one for many reasons. Number one, back when I was in law school, young puppy in law school coming up, we actually did a case on 2 Live Crew and their one of the more famous songs, Pretty Woman, that I think made it up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court came out in their favor with the whole fair use because they sampled the song. And, the person whose song they sampled without permission, they sued them for copyright infringement, and the Supreme Court ruled that it was a fair use, which allowed them to continue to use the song without having to pay the person of the song they sampled. They said it was essentially a parody. So this was something that we covered back when I was in law school in my IP writing class. But I guess from another perspective, man, y'all have to pay your bills, y'all bankruptcy bills. We all know, and I preach this stuff on a daily basis, that this IP stuff is extremely valuable, whether you have a trademark, whether you have a patent, whether you have a copyright. And to the extent of a copyright, this thing kind of can last for a long time in the life of the author, plus 70 years. So I'm talking about creating generational wealth and having this stuff passed down to your kids so that your kids can make money off of it. Again, this stuff can last a long time, but you have to pay your bills to kind of go about things the right way, because if you find yourself in a sticky situation, let's just say, where now you're on the verge of bankruptcy, all your assets, and the IP is considered an asset, will be essentially part of the bankruptcy proceedings that you'll have to effectively give away. And you don't want to find yourself having to give away something that you can make money for a long time, man. So let's get back to the video. I did just want to bring you that. Please hit a like button if you like this type of content, as well as hit the subscribe button to be a part of the community. Let's get to it and go from there.
NBC6's Marissa Bax spoke with Uncle Luke about his big win. Marissa.
Jawan, Luke Campbell says this is something that he's been working toward for decades. He says the moment he found out it would become a reality was surreal.
And I'm going to scroll through the video a little bit because I don't want to get hit with a copyright infringement, so I'm going to scroll through it.
Uncle Luke is celebrating his win in Miami federal court that awarded him the copyright to his music.
I was still like, did we win? Did we just win this? Do we get our copyrights back? Is it a win? And,
Campbell filed a lawsuit in 2022 against Little Joe Records when U.S. copyright law allowed ownership of work to revert back to its creator after 35 years.
And again, this is an interesting scenario, because if we all remember, Dame Dash is probably want to pay close attention to this whole case, because as we all know, Dame Dash is selling his ownership or his copyright, ownership of the copyright to reasonable doubt, which he found himself in a bankruptcy proceeding, and the whole copyright is being sold as a part of the bankruptcy proceeding. So he want to pay attention to this, because this is whole thing where Jay-Z is actually asking the court, like, hey, you might as well just give me back my copyright, because after 35 years, whoever buys Dame Dash 1/3 is going to go back to me anyway. And essentially what happened in this Uncle Luke case, Uncle Luke actually won the lawsuit because 35 years passed, and the court said, okay, we're going to give him back his copyright, his copyright in his work, or in the albums, the group's copyright back in the albums. And effectively, this may apply to the Dame Dash Jay-Z situation, because again, in this case, it's going to get appealed. This was just the lower court's ruling, is up at the Court of Appeals now, and maybe it makes it up to the Supreme Court of the United States. But again, I'm pretty sure Dame Dash and Jay-Z is going to be paying attention to this, because if the Supreme Court comes out in favor of Uncle Luke and 2 Live Crew, then that's going to help Jay-Z's case. But if it comes out where, okay, bankruptcy proceeding, and therefore, the person who got the stuff got the copyright in the bankruptcy, retains ownership, then that can come out in Dame Dash's favor, or at least the person who buys the 1/3 ownership of Dame Dash, and therefore kind of screw Jay-Z. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Court of Appeals, as well as maybe the Supreme Court, kind of rules in this particular case. And you bet you your bottom dollar that Jay-Z and Dame Dash is going to be paying attention, because their cases are very similar, where Dame Dash had to sell his copyright as a result of a bankruptcy. And this was a similar thing. It seems like Uncle Luke them had to sell their copyright to their catalog as a result of a bankruptcy. Thankfully, they got it back based on this whole 35-year kind of provision where it goes back to the authors. And Jay-Z is trying to say the same thing. Hey, it's 35 years. You might as well give me back my the copyright, because after 35 years, which I think he said is another 4 or 5 years, I'm going to get it back anyway. Based on this copyright law, and therefore you shouldn't even, whoever buys it, they're just going to be wasting their money anyway. So again, the Jay-Z Dame Dash situation has a lot of similarities to this one, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be paying attention. But let's get back to the video.
Joe Weinberger, Campbell's one-time attorney, bought the entire catalog in a bankruptcy back in 1995.
Hold on. This almost to me seems like a conflict of interest. How does your attorney, and again, I am an attorney, so it'll be crazy if I'm representing somebody on one end, then I'm buying their IP, whether it's a copyright, patent, or trademark, based on them not being able to kind of satisfy their legal bill. That just seems like a conflict of interest on my behalf. But it seems like Two Live Crew's, their attorney, end up buying their copyrighted their catalog, which is crazy to think about. But again, maybe you guys think that's fair game, especially if you owe them money. You guys have to let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let's get back to the video, though.
A federal jury decided Wednesday that the music should return to Campbell.
Artists like myself can go in and retrieve their copyrights when they were, in my opinion, illegally taken away from us.
Look it, no, and we have to hear more to that story, because he said something is illegally taken. And again, according to kind of my brief research, they kind of got caught in a sticky situation, had bankruptcy, and therefore had to sell their assets, and copyright was part of the assets. So maybe it's another part of the story that I'm not aware of. And to the extent that you guys who are watching this know something else that I don't know, please leave a comment in the comment section. But I think we got to take some accountability, Uncle Luke. If you guys have faced with a bankruptcy and had to sell the catalog as a result of the bankruptcy, let's not say that it was illegally taken away from you guys. Just say, hey, we got caught in a sticky situation and we owed some people some money, and we offered up our catalog was offered up to satisfy those payments. Don't try to say that you guys this stuff was taken from you guys illegally. Thankfully, you guys got them back. I'm all for that, but let's not say it was illegally taken away. Let's kind of have some accountability here. Let's go.
This is one of the albums in question right here.
Campbell showed us several awards he received for the music over the years, but for much of that time, any profits the music made were not his.
Really, to hear a song on the radio with your voice on it, sample of your music, and you're not getting paid a dime. Just imagine that. I mean, that is a very sickening thing. And now, when folks call to sample the music, and the right people will be able to profit from it.
Now, Campbell's son and the children of late members Mark Ross and Chris Wan will benefit from the songs of their fathers.
I look at Chris and Mark kids, and I look at my son, this is their parents' work. It's bigger than us. It's more about them kids.
And again, I'm finish up the video. I mean, I agree with him. That's the power of this intellectual property. That's the power of copyright specifically, because again, the copyright lasts for the life of the author plus 70 years. So even after you die, you made your song or whatever it is, your copyrighted work, you still have 70 more years to be able to kind of monetize off your work. And that's kind of passing it down to your kids, passing it down to your grandkids, and allowing them to make money off of your hard work, your sweat and tears. So again, this stuff is valuable, and I agree with Uncle Luke from that standpoint. And again, that goes to show, hey, protect this stuff and kind of do right by it, so you don't have to worry about it being taken away from you for bankruptcy or any other means based on kind of life happening or whatnot. So that's the importance of it. Is the fact that you can pass this down to generation, but then as he talked about also, when people in Two Live Crew. And I'm kind of young, but compared to the older bucks when Two Live Crew and whatnot came out, but they had some very popular songs, some very popular albums, and this stuff is still getting sampled on current artists and as well as movies. And to the extent that you own the copyright to it, these people got to hit you up and pay you to be able to use your song. But As he talked about, if you don't own a copyright to it, then you are hearing your song played on other people's albums and kind of played in movies. You're not even making money from it. So that's the power of ownership. That's the power of owning your copyright, not just because you can pass this stuff down to your kids and to your grandkids, but also because, again, when people sample your work, when people use it for movies for their songs, they have to call you not only to get permission, but they have to pay you for it. So this copyright and this IP stuff is extremely valuable, and I thought this was a good story to kind of underscore that point. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Now, he said some wild stuff as far as, hey, it was taken from illegally, and from my understanding, it seemed like it was a bankruptcy issue, but I may not know all the facts. So to the extent that you know something that I don't know, please leave it in the comment section. Again, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, I know they're going to be paying close attention to this case, because based on how their situation is kind of, their case is going, this can have some applicability depending on how the Court of Appeals court rules, as well as maybe the Supreme Court if it makes it up that high. But again, shout out to Uncle Luke for getting his copyright back to the albums, and the other group members and their kids. So definitely big win for them. Again, let this be a lesson, the value of this IP, the ownership of the IP, whether it's a copyright, whether it's a trademark, whether it's a trade secret. Please hit a like for a like if you like this type of content, as well as hit the subscribe button if you to be a part of the community. I'm trying to give you guys this, not only entertainment of these current events or whatnot, but I'm trying to provide you guys with some valuable insight from a 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with, again, the value and the importance of this intellectual property and the ownership of the intellectual property. So, yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I'll catch you guys next time. And join the IP community. Leave a comment if you disagree with what I'm saying, or if you have something else to add. Leave a comment. Love to hear from you. Until next time, peace.